Hey guys, Teresa here. Welcome back to my channel, Lost My Thread. I'm here to share my inspiration for the Sew Frugal challenge, focusing on the most neglected area of my me-made wardrobe, loungewear. For any of the regular viewers of my channel, I'm sorry for an unexpected absence. I definitely wasn't planning to be away, but for a variety of reasons, I haven't been able to make a YouTube video. I am back. I will be sharing a bit of a life update in my February makes video. It should be hopefully coming out next week. But today, really, I'm going to focus on Sew Frugal. If you are new to my channel, you are very welcome. This is my little sewing corner of the internet. I am very much obsessed with sewing. I think about sewing all the time, and I share things that I'm planning to make, that I've made, how I style my clothes, how I try and find my own personal style. I have some tutorial videos, and I do sew a lot with free sewing patterns, so I feel like this is definitely the challenge for me. This is the 5th year of this challenge and the 5th year that I have made a video and joined in. I absolutely love this challenge. Sam of Frugalissima and Ruan of the Yorkshire Sew Girl really came up with a fantastic challenge, and I know that it's something that really inspires us across the community. There was a whole vlogger tour of various vloggers sharing their inspiration, which I'll be putting up here, and some details down below as well. Just briefly, as far as how this challenge works, the idea is that you need to take some fabric that is already in your stash, or take an unloved, unwanted garment, use some sheets, basically something that's already at your home, some type of fabric or textile that's in your home, and transform that into a garment using a free sewing pattern. So it has to be a pattern that is free to everybody. Once you've made your garment, you then have to share it on the 31st of March, not before, 31st of March on Instagram using the hashtag SewFrugal25 and tag Sam and Ruan so that they know that you're joining in, and you will then be participating, taking part to possibly win a prize. There are tons of lovely prizes. They always put together a really fantastic list of prizes for everybody, and I really do hope that you guys join in if you're interested, if you like sewing free patterns, if you've got some fabric hanging around that really needs made up into something. And like I said, all the details will be down in the description. I always try and come up with a theme to make my Sew Frugal video a bit more cohesive. The first year I came up with ideas for dresses that I could use specifically for some linen fabric that I had in my stash. The second year I was looking at free jumpsuit patterns. The third year I was looking at free skirt patterns. And then last year I was looking at patterns that would work to use up fabric scraps, so leftovers, bits from previous projects. I will put links to those videos and also the reveal video so you can see what I actually made and what I thought of those things. I've also made a video of all the free sewing patterns that I've made, and I ranked them, but I will say that I've made some since then, so at some point I'm going to have to do a follow-up to that video. When I was thinking about what I wanted to focus on this year, I looked at what was really missing the most in my wardrobe, and my loungewear is an easy one to point to. I know I've been throwing things away. I know that what I have is a lot of just random mix and match sweatpants, old t-shirts. It doesn't feel like a real outfit, and definitely I look and I feel like I've just thrown something on, which is comfortable, but not necessarily as stylish as I would like it to be. So I really love the idea of having some matching sets, two-piece sets, so that I wouldn't feel embarrassed if somebody spotted me going out to take my rubbish out, answering a door to the postman. In all honesty, I'm not really that fussed by those people seeing me in whatever I'm wearing, but it would be nice to feel just a little bit more together. I will pop in some inspiration images of the kinds of outfits that I would like to have for my loungewear. I'm not necessarily looking to get exactly these things because of course I'm working with the fabrics that I happen to have in my stash. But it was interesting when I was looking through the fabrics that I had, particularly the longer pieces that would work for like a two-piece outfit. They often were things that had been sitting around for a while that I hadn't been sewing up, and I felt like this really was the perfect solution. The first fabric that was really calling out to me was some DBP double brushed poly that I got from Joann Fabrics a couple of years ago. This is an apricot color, and I will say I was expecting the color to be a bit more corally, a bit more punchy. It's quite subtle, and I will say it's a little bit closer to my skin tone than I would have probably intended it to be. That's part of what has put me off sewing with it, but the other thing is that I bought it with a specific plan of making a long line cardigan with a tight fitted sleeve. But I have been finding that I've been liking to wear much more full sleeves, so a tight-fitting cardigan over the top just isn't going to work. So I've just been leaving it there, not quite knowing what to do with it. But I have a good 3 meters of it. It must have been probably 3 yards of it, but it is super wide, and I think I could definitely get a 2-piece set out of this. Double brush poly is incredibly soft against the skin. It works surprisingly well in both cooler and warmer weathers. It has the most wonderful fluid drape to it. It has a really nice sort of spongy texture to it. It's really comfortable, it's breathable, and I really do think it would be perfect for loungewear. I was thinking of something that is a bit more loose and drapey that can kind of just fall and hang on my curves. And what I was thinking of doing was a two-piece sweatpant and tank top. Now, when I was a teenager in the 90s, I had a pair of elastic waist sweatpants that were a really big, full, wide leg, so no cuff at the bottom. And I've been noticing that style around. It's clearly coming back into fashion, and it made me remember that style and think, oh, I would love to have a pair like that again. So I was looking around for the right pattern, and I think the best fit that I could find was the Tiana's Closet Hattie Lounge Pants. So these have an elastic waist and are very wide leg. I feel like they would be great with this drapey fabric. They would move around really well. This pattern does not come with a pocket, but it does have a link to a pocket and how you can download that pattern and insert into these trousers. I think I'm going to go with no pockets, partly because I might not have enough fabric, but also partly because I don't love pockets in elastic trousers. They do bounce around a lot and just kind of annoy me. So I think I would prefer that kind of straight, streamlined look as well. But I think this fabric in this pattern would be an absolute perfect pairing. This pattern does not have the best size range, so I'll be putting the size ranges down when I talk about the pattern so that you can see if it will work for you. But if you do not fit into the size range, I think any elastic waist pants, like elastic wide leg pants, would work fine. If they're intended for wovens, you might just want to size down a size, but this is one that is intended for jersey, which is why I wanted to share. The top that I think would pair really well with this is the Luna Tank by Helen's Closet. Now this is intended for drapey jersey fabrics. The idea is that it's very floaty. It's longer at the front and back than it is at the sides. It is not hemmed at the bottom to allow it to be quite light and loose and flowy. It looks like a really nice, easy pattern to put together. I am somebody who usually has to do a full bust adjustment. I often have to grade out at the hips. Because of the design of this, it is so full at the bottom, I think I could just make something that fits my high bust area. I think that would work really well. I would be tempted to do a shelf bra hack in this. Now I did find a good tutorial for putting a shelf bra into a tank top that I'll include down below. It's not for this exact pattern, but the principles are very much the same. I think that would just make it like ultra comfortable and relaxed and nice to be able to wear. I think this would be a super cute outfit and very much fit into that elevated, just chic loungewear look that I'm going for. Now, if those two patterns work out, I could also see this potentially working as a jumpsuit by pairing these two together. So if I make this first and I feel like I like the shape of it, I could see where I would want the waist to be on the tank top and then just essentially stitch them together to make a jumpsuit. I did make a video tutorial about how to make a jumpsuit by pairing together a top and a trouser pattern, which I will link to down below. It would be very much the same principles, though the patterns are obviously quite different. This is jersey, that was for woven fabric. But I feel like that could work really well for a fabric that I got from a D-stash. I got this really gorgeous French terry fabric from a D-stash. Even though it is French terry, I think there's quite a range with French terries. This one is super duper soft and is surprisingly light and floaty. I'm not quite sure if there might be a bit of modal or something mixed in with this because it is so drapey. I feel like it can't be 100% cotton. It is definitely a really special fabric. I love the print on it. It is so springy and so fun. And I think this made into a jumpsuit using those two patterns would be absolutely perfect for the spring. So I would possibly think about doing it a bit more cropped, maybe not the full length trouser, but I'm not entirely sure. I'd kind of have to play around with what fabric I've got, what I think would work well. Now, if I make the tank top, part of what I would need to know first of all is, can I pull that then over my bust and over my hips to be able to get it off and then get it on again? And I will say that's going to depend a lot on the fabric that you're choosing as well. It would need to have really great stretch and recovery. Now, this particular fabric, I'm happy to say, has 4-way stretch, has even the most stretch in the crosswise direction. So I think it would actually work really well, providing that that neckline is big enough. Now I'm showing you images of these fabrics because I'm going to be honest, I've actually cut out and sewed up some of these things before because I'm getting a little bit later in the month and I don't want to wait till the end of March to be able to make these up. But I can confirm that the Luna Tank I'm definitely able to pull over my shoulders and my hips, so I think it would be a perfect candidate for a jumpsuit hack using this French terry. I really love the idea of using jumpsuits as loungewear. It's not something that I would have necessarily considered before, but I think especially if you're using like a jersey fabric, why not? It basically feels like pajamas. It is super comfortable, but I could also then just, pop out if I need to and definitely feel like I'm properly dressed. It feels like the best of both worlds to me. I have one other piece of jersey fabric that I feel like has just been hanging around in my stash for too long. I feel like I got this maybe 3 years ago, could be longer ago. I'll put it up on the screen when I work out. I got this with the intention of making a sweatshirt, which I did make, the Toaster Sweater by Sew 7, and I really do love that sweatshirt. But when I had bought this fabric from Like So Amazing, I thought that I was buying per half meter, but it was per meter. It was very reasonably priced, but I ended up with essentially twice as much fabric as I thought I was buying. And so I've had this extra bit of fabric hanging around, just kind of lingering in my stash, not knowing what I wanted to do with it. Because I didn't really want to make something that looked too similar, but it's sweatshirting fabric. I felt like sweatpants would definitely look a bit odd, and I didn't think I would want to wear those. But I've been thinking about other things that I could do to make a two-piece matching outfit. And I noticed their elemental skirt. So it's by the same sewing pattern, Sew 7. And this skirt, when they have the pictures on their design on the website, there are actually some two-piece outfits which very much look like the toaster sweater on top. Now, it's apparently not, it's a different pattern on top, but it's definitely giving me an idea that this whole combination could work. And I feel like being this grid type pattern, it would almost look quite formal and dressy, definitely very elevated, but 100% feel like sweatpants, like a sweatsuit. So it's very much, I feel like that perfect line of elevated loungewear, like exactly what I'm aiming for. I also have one piece of woven fabric that I feel like really needs to come into this little collection. This is a viscose fabric that I got from Self Made. When I bought this, the intention was to make a dress with it, but I feel like when it arrived, it just wasn't quite what I was expecting. I don't know if it's to do with the scale or the color contrast. I like the look of it and I like the colors. It's not like it's a bad fabric. I think the feel and the texture was a bit different than I expected as well. It's 100% viscose, but it definitely has a bit of a stiffer feel to it than most viscoses. It feels more like a cotton viscose blend to me. It doesn't have the same drape. It's almost a bit closer to a viscose twill, but it doesn't have a twill weave. There's just something about it that has just not been screaming out dress, which is what I was hoping to do with this fabric. And I feel like when I imagine something in that fabric, it almost looks more like pajamas than day wear, which bit of a light bulb moment went off when I realized, hey, this could be some elevated loungewear. I think making a top and trouser out of these two and just dedicating them to being loungewear is absolutely perfect. For this fabric, I feel it would work really well for loungewear that is just a bit relaxed, oversized, not overly busy as far as the design. And I wanted to make a two-piece outfit. The trouser that I want to use is the Cast Wide Leg Culottes by fabricstore.com, fabric-store.com. I have made this pattern before, and I did talk about it in my tier ranking of the free patterns that I've made. And I need to just say I made a mistake in that video, and I said there were no pockets included with this pattern, but there are absolutely pockets included because I am looking into making it soon. I've reprinted it out, and I feel like it would work really well. Again, I like the elastic waist and the really big, wide, floaty nature of the trouser. This is a bit cropped, so I'd probably lengthen it to full trouser length, just add like an inch or two to make it a little bit longer just for my own personal style. And I think this would pair really well with just a really simple top. The one I'm going to go for is the seamwork handsy top. So it's just a slightly drop shoulder. There is a little pocket on the front, which of course would be optional. There are some darts in this one to enable you to get some nice fitting. Very simple lines, and I feel like this two together with this fabric, it would look like what this fabric was meant to be. And I feel like I've just been sitting and not realizing this for way too long. Usually when I make these videos, I have tons of ideas and fabrics that could become many things, and I think about whether I want to use them in this challenge. This time around, honestly, this is what I want to do with these fabrics. Even if I don't get them sewn up by the end of March, these are the patterns that I'm going to be using. These are the designs that I want because I feel like they've been sitting around for too long and I've seen a clear vision for them now and I want to go full speed ahead. We will have to see how many of these I manage to sew up by the end of the month, but I think either way, I'm going to really enjoy having all of these garments in my wardrobe and just having some better options for loungewear. I know that when I'm relaxing at home, you can feel kind of like, oh, who cares? Who's really going to see you? But you're going to see you. The people in your family are going to see you. And I know that I really do appreciate feeling that little bit more put together even when I'm lounging at home. I hope I've given you guys some inspiration of some patterns or some styles that you might want to try out for yourself. There might be some fabric sitting in your fabric stash that just hasn't been able to make its way into your wardrobe, and maybe there's a reason that it doesn't want to be a garment to wear outside. Maybe it's actually destined to be some loungewear. Please let me know if you're going to be joining in on the challenge, if you've gotten any ideas from the things that I've shared, if you've made any of the patterns that I've made. We are all here to inspire each other, and I really do appreciate each and every one of you, all the comments that you make, and the inspiration that you give me as well. Thanks again to Sew Frugal for putting this challenge together. I will see you guys very soon. Bye!